Heartbreak with moments of profound loyalty, and the promo hints at that as well. In one shot, a character's hand reaches for another's in quiet reassurance. It's small, but powerful. It says, "I'm still here, no matter what comes." Touches of resilience remind us that even when love is tested, it doesn't simply break. It bends, it stretches, it fights to survive. That's what makes these relationships so compelling. They mirror the soldier's heart itself, scarred yet unyielding by focusing on these relational struggles. Episode 4 promises to expand the theme beyond one person's journey. It's not only about the soldier who carries the burden, but also about the people who share that weight unknowingly. Lovers, friends, and family members all feel the echoes of battle. When someone fights a war within, everyone close to them is drawn into that conflict. The promo makes this clear with its framing rarely showing individuals alone, instead placing them in pairs or groups where tension simmers in every interaction. This section of the story doesn't just explore love. As romance, it digs into loyalty, betrayal, and unspoken truths. Who can be trusted when hearts are wounded? How much honesty can love endure when silence feels safer than truth? These are the emotional grenades episode 4 is ready to throw into the relationships we've been watching build since the beginning of Blood of My Blood. And judging by the promo, at least one bond will not come out of this episode the same. So while the swords and muskets may remain in the background, the real fight of a soldier's heart happens in whispered arguments, broken promises, and desperate embraces. Battlefield is no longer the highlands or the colonies, it's the human heart. And in this upcoming episode, we are about to see who survives that fight, and who will be left carrying scars that no one else can see. Asterisk the most haunting part of? The promo for Outlander, Blood of My Blood episode 4, A Soldier's Heart, is not what is shown, but what is suggested. Behind every line, every shadowed glance, and every unfinished sentence lies a secret waiting to be uncovered. Outlander has always thrived on the tension between truth and silence. And here the promo is deliberately leaving trails of breadcrumbs, daring viewers to wonder what is being hidden and who will pay the price when the truth finally breaks through. The foreshadowing is subtle but unmistakable, painting this episode as one where revelations could change not just relationships, but entire futures. The first thing that stands out is how often the promo cuts away from spoken words. We hear fragments of conversations but rarely get full exchanges. That choice isn't accidental. It creates the sense that characters are either hiding something or choosing their words carefully. It also tells us that silence will be a weapon in this episode. Soldiers know how to hold things back, and the title, A Soldier's Heart, reminds us that part of surviving war is burying truths too heavy to share. But in families and relationships, those buried truths have a way of clawing back to the surface. Episode 4 is preparing to bring some of those buried emotions to light, visually. The promo uses foreshadowing in clever ways. There's a shot of someone walking away into the fog, their figure slowly fading. This could symbolize more than physical distance. It might signal betrayal, abandonment, or the loss of trust. Another scene lingers just long enough on a letter. Being tucked away, a clear nod to secrets exchanged in writing. Secrets meant to stay hidden, but destined to be revealed. These details suggest that episode 4 is not just about the pain of memory, but about the danger of lies, half-truths, and withheld confessions. What makes this particularly powerful is the emotional layering. When the camera focuses on a character's face, we see fear mixed with longing, guilt tangled with love. That emotional conflict is itself a form of foreshadowing. It tells us that someone is carrying knowledge they shouldn't, or hiding a choice that will come back to haunt them. In Outlander, secrets are never harmless. They are catalysts for heartbreak, betrayal, and sometimes redemption. The promo gives us just enough to know that episode 4 will hinge on these quiet bombs waiting to explode. There's also an undercurrent of danger that threads through the teaser. We see gestures of protection, one character pulling another close, shielding them from unseen threats. But that protective instinct can also signal that the danger isn't external. It may come from within their own circle. Could there be betrayal from someone close? Could loyalty shift under the weight of fear? These possibilities hang heavy in the atmosphere of the promo. And if we've learned anything from the world of Outlander, it's that betrayals hurt most when they come from those we trust. One of the strongest hints of foreshadowing lies in the repeated theme of separation. Again and again, the promo shows characters being pulled apart by distance, by silence, by choice. This repetition is too deliberate to ignore. It suggests that Episode 4 will test relationships in a way that feels final, or at least irreversible. A soldier's heart can endure battle, but separation, whether emotional or physical, can break even the strongest bond. That's the tragedy the promo teases. And it's what makes this upcoming episode feel so emotionally dangerous. But secrets don't just destroy, they also transform. Outlander has always shown that hidden truths can shift destinies.
Revelation
Can shatter a family, but it can also force characters into new paths, creating resilience they didn't know they had. The promo's dark tones suggest pain ahead, but it also hints at resilience rising from that pain. There's a brief shot of eyes lifting with determination after a moment of despair, as if to say, "I will endure this." That's classic Outlander. Foreshadowing, reminding us that while heartbreak is inevitable, so is survival. The brilliance of the promo lies in its balance. It doesn't just tease tragedy, it teases transformation. Secrets will be revealed, yes, but those revelations will carry consequences that ripple far beyond this single episode. Some relationships may fracture, but others might be reforged in the fire of truth. The soldier's heart, scarred as it is, may not break completely. It may grow stronger, more resilient, more unyielding. And that's what Episode 4 is shaping up to show that the hardest truths, the most painful secrets, are also the ones that shape the strongest legacies. So as viewers, we're left with questions deliberately left unanswered by the promo. What truths are being hidden in silence? Whose loyalty will falter when tested by love and fear? Perhaps most hauntingly, whose heart will finally break under the weight of secrets carried too long? Episode 4 is preparing to pull back the curtain, and when it does, the battlefield of emotions may prove even more devastating than any war fought with swords. A soldier's scars aren't always visible on the skin. Sometimes they live deep in the heart, shaping every choice, every word, and every moment of silence. That is exactly what the promo for Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Episode 4, titled A Soldier's Heart, is setting up. This isn't just another chapter in the story, it's an emotional turning point. One that digs into the lasting shadows of war and how they change not just soldiers, but the people who love them. When you hear the title, you know the heart will be the battlefield this time. It will strike harder than any blade ever could. In this first section, let's break down the foundation of what this promo is showing us and why it's such a powerful setup. The episode comes at a moment where tension is already running high. Episode 3 left us with emotional wounds just beginning to surface, but Episode 4 promises to rip them wide open. The promo wastes no time in drawing us into that conflict. We see quick flashes, dark eyes staring off as if haunted by memories. Conversations cut short as unspoken pain lingers in the air, and moments of tenderness interrupted by duty. These aren't just simple shots. They are carefully chosen glimpses of characters wrestling with their past while trying to move forward. What's most striking is how the theme of the soldier's burden is painted across multiple relationships. The promo hints at emotional flashbacks, not just for one character, but for several. Each of them carries something, whether it's literal memories of war, the fear of losing someone they love to duty, or the weight of living in the shadow of violence. The Outlander world has always been rooted in history, but in Blood of My Blood, the scars of war are being shown in a more personal way. It's not about battles on fields, it's about the battles in the heart. The editing of the promo itself tells us so much. Quick cuts between anger, sorrow, and silence create a rhythm of unease. A soldier's silence is louder than words, and that silence is what speaks through these shots. We see hands clenched into fists, eyes clouded with hesitation, and embraces that look like they are clinging to a final moment. That emotional layering is the hook of this episode. You feel it before you even watch the full story. The title, A Soldier's Heart, is a promise. This episode will not shy away from emotional intensity. The promo makes it clear that we're about to see hearts tested by old wounds and new challenges. It's going to ask questions that have no easy answers. Can love heal scars that never truly fade? Can loyalty to families survive when war has carved deep fractures into trust? These are the questions this promo wants us to carry into episode 4. And it's why fans are already bracing for an episode that will cut deep and linger long after the credits roll. Asterisk, Jamie Fraser's shadow looms over everything in Outlander. Blood of my blood, and in episode 4, A Soldier's Heart, that shadow feels heavier than ever. Even though this series is a prequel, the promo makes it clear that Jamie's legacy as both a warrior and a man of deep conviction is stitched into every frame. What we see is not just a story about young lives trying to define themselves, but about how the choices of one soldier echo through generations. The title itself reminds us of Jamie's journey in the original Outlander series, The Weight of Culloden. The sacrifices made in love, and the way his soldier's heart was both his strength and his deepest burden. Here the promo pulls those themes forward, tying the struggles of the younger characters back to that same battlefield of the soul. When we break down the promo, one of the most striking details is how it balances tenderness and trauma. In one quick shot, there's a flash of affection and embrace that feels almost desperate, as if holding on to love might keep the ghosts away. But the very next moment shows a different reality. Faces filled with doubt, hesitation, and the kind of silence that says more than words ever could. That's where Jamie's presence is most felt. His legacy wasn't just about swinging a sword or surviving battles. It was about enduring the kind of emotional war that never truly ends. The younger characters seem to carry that same energy, as if they inherited not only his courage, but also his scars. The promo also seems to hint at the clash between duty and love, something Jamie himself wrestled with constantly. Being a soldier often meant sacrificing personal happiness for a greater cause. The whispers and stares in the teaser suggest that episode 4 will dive into those sacrifices again. One character looks torn between following their heart and following their duty. Another appears haunted by choices already made, as if the battlefield followed them home. It's a powerful reminder that war doesn't just claim lives on the field, it lingers in the quiet moments, reshaping every relationship around it. Jamie's journey taught us that. And now, Blood of My Blood is showing us how that truth repeats itself through time. There's also a subtle but important detail in the promo: the contrast between family intimacy and the threat of separation. We see scenes that are soft and warm hands clasped, gentle voices speaking of promises, but they are quickly interrupted by reminders of conflict. This mirrors Jamie's life perfectly, where his love for Claire was always tested by the demands of war and politics. The fact that the promo chooses to highlight these small interruptions tells us episode 4 will be built around tension between closeness and distance, love and loss, peace and turmoil. It's the soldier's paradox, and Jamie's legacy is woven through it. What makes this section of the story so unique is that the characters aren't just facing outside threats, they are also confronting the war within. A soldier's heart doesn't beat the same way after battle. The promo hints that this truth will be explored deeply in episode 4. One lingering shot of a character staring into the distance, clearly lost in thought, says everything. The battlefield may be far away, but its mark is permanent. This is where Jamie's memory becomes more than history. It becomes a living presence. His struggles, his sacrifices, his resilience set the template for what we're seeing now. So when the promo cuts between moments of love and moments of silence, it's telling us something important. Episode 4 isn't only about events happening in the present. It's about how the past Jamie's past, the family's past, the soldier's past, bleeds into the now. Every decision is shaped by history, and every embrace is shadowed by loss. That's the weight of Jamie's legacy, and it's why A Soldier's Heart feels so emotionally charged even before the episode airs. Fans aren't just waiting to see what happens next. They're waiting to see how this timeless theme of sacrifice and resilience continues to ripple through the Fraser bloodline. Asterisk if episode 4 is titled A Soldier's Heart, and the pulse of that heart beats loudest in the relationships tested within the promo. What strikes viewers first is how much of the teaser is dedicated not to grand battles or sweeping landscapes, but to the intimate spaces between characters, the looks, the pauses, the arguments cut short. This is where the true war is happening now. In Outlander fashion, it's never just about survival in a physical sense, but about the survival of trust, intimacy, and connection, when duty and trauma constantly threaten to tear everything apart. The promo gives us several moments that suggest cracks forming in the bonds between characters. In one scene, two figures stand close, their bodies angled toward each other, yet their faces are turned away. It's a silent message. Love may be there, but so is hesitation. Another shot lingers on a conversation in hushed tones, where words don't match the emotions burning in their eyes. These hints are powerful because they tell us episode 4 isn't going to shy away from showing how fragile relationships become. When war both literal and emotional hangs over them like a shadow. One of the most poignant aspects is how desire and duty clash in this episode. A soldier's heart longs for closeness, yet it is also bound by oaths, loyalties, and obligations. The promo highlights this beautifully. In one brief embrace, we see passion mixed with fears, though the characters know this could be their last moment together. Immediately after, the mood shifts, showing separation or disagreement, suggesting that even love can be suffocated by the weight of expectation. That's the duality at the center of this episode. The human need to love fully versus the soldier's reality of always being pulled away. There's also an undercurrent of mistrust hinted in the promo. A glance held a beat too long, a voice raised in sudden frustration. These small details suggest secrets waiting to break open. The title A Soldier's Heart might not only refer to pain carried from the battlefield, but also to the guardedness that soldiers often develop. When you've seen loss up close, it becomes harder to open up fully, even to those you love. This guardedness could create emotional distance between characters, and that distance is the very battlefield this episode will explore. Another fascinating element is how the promo frames these moments visually. Dark lighting and close camera angles keep the focus tight, almost claustrophobic, as if the characters themselves feel trapped within their own emotions. It contrasts sharply with the rare flashes of daylight and openness moments of intimacy or fleeting hope. The editing tells a story of its own whenever characters try to reach for peace. The weight of reality pulls them back into the shadows. It's a cinematic way of showing how love in this world is constantly at risk, constantly under siege. But this is also where resilience comes in.
Outlander has always balanced